Ethereum is a technology that's home to digital money, global payments, and applications. The community has built a booming digital economy, bold new ways for creators to earn online, and so much more. It's open to everyone, wherever you are in the world. All you need is the internet. On this episode, we're going to unpack some of the many use cases Ethereum blockchain has to offer. Let's get scholarly. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Crypto Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Mario Johnson, president and founder of Crypto Scholars LLC. And tonight, we're going to unpack, like I said earlier, the many use cases of Ethereum. As we know, Ethereum has been booming lately, as you can see here from the chart. In just the past week alone, that's actually a 2-week chart from going back from the 18th. It's up, what's that, 81.34% just in the past 2 weeks alone. And that's even though it had to endure what Bitcoin's drop that it just did. Not too recently, it took it took a huge drop. About 3 weeks ago, started to recover, but it's trying to drop again. And throughout that entire time, Ethereum has maintained and continued to thrive. So, with all the hype around it, I kind of wanted to dedicate this episode to kind of give a nice little explanation, a nice little, I guess, intro for those who may be wondering what Ethereum is, like I said, what its use case is, so on and so forth, the many different aspects of it, because I like to refer to Ethereum as the world's supercomputer. It's the super operating system, or as it likes to be called, the programmable blockchain. So it doesn't just have one specific use case. It's an unlimited platform with a wide array of use cases for it to be built upon. And I got to tell you, it's been one of the best investments for me personally that I've ever looked into, because I think of it as, look at when the internet started, the internet as a whole. It is an amazing platform that has opened the door for, a wide array of creativity. It spawned super companies. Look at Amazon, completely online based. Look at Google. They're probably analyzing this video right now. Look at Facebook. I'm utilizing Facebook Live to broadcast. So all of those were all of those companies, all of those great, I want to say inventions, but all these great introductions of technology came because of the internet. Now let's roll over to Ethereum. Ethereum is like the internet. It's like I said, it's like the supercomputer, it's like the super operating system. But unlike the internet, you can invest directly into Ethereum. Like currently, or back when the internet was first taking off, and we had the .com boom and bust and things like that, you couldn't invest directly into the internet. You can invest into internet-based companies, but you didn't have the ability to invest directly into the internet. So we have a new opportunity here, and it's uncharted territories, unknown waters, which is why one of the people that I follow, Raul Powell, says that the upside is so incredible because of the fact that you, by buying their coin Ether, which we'll talk about, ETH, it's its ticker symbol, you're investing directly into something similar to the internet. So the upside is freaking believable. But I'm not going to ramble. My apologies on that. But like I said, what I wanted to talk about today is pretty much Ethereum. What it is. We're going to get into its coin ETH, which is used by application developers in order to transact on top of the network. You pay that in gas fees. We're going to talk about DeFi, decentralized finance. We're definitely going to get into the DAOs, the decentralized autonomous organizations, and we're going to talk about NFTs. That buzz. What is that? I guess that's an acronym, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I am, whatever. We're going to continue on. But everyone's going crazy over NFTs. I've gotten contacted by a great number of people hey man, can you make me an NFT? How do I do NFTs? The newest craze is NFT. I remember over the summer, the craze was DeFi. Everybody was jumping in DeFi. You had all these crazy named platforms jumping out of nowhere, Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, um, all these food, based meme coins that were popping up out of nowhere. And now the new crazy NFT. And guess what? All of these were built on top of Ethereum. So it goes all the way back to the source, you know. And for me, I am, as you guys remember on the video that I did where I did my portfolio, like balancing, and I showed kind of how my portfolio is weighted as far as my investments go. I am invested in the different sectors of the platform, but my biggest holdings is in the platform itself, because without the platform, there is none of there is no NFT, there is no ETH token, there is no DeFi, and there is no DAO, And like I said, we have the opportunity here to invest in the platform, first of its kind, never heard of, like you look at Windows. And I go down these rabbit holes. You guys know I go down these rabbit holes. I'll roll myself back in here in a second. But look at Windows. Windows is the operating system, but you couldn't invest in Windows. You had to invest in Microsoft. Look at Linux. Again, Linux is the operating system. I love Linux. I program a lot of things on top of Linux. Hell, I run my hosting company on top of a Linux-based web server. So utilizing AWS's platform. But again, you can't invest directly in those systems. You can only invest in those companies, Red Hat. So if something happens to the company, there's some type of controversy or something like that, you just lost your investment. This is a game changer. This is truly a game changer. So let's talk about Ethereum. Let's get into exactly what Ethereum is. So this, I'm going to use the actual ethereum.org's website as a reference. And when we break down the different areas of use cases for Ethereum, because who would know more about the product itself than the creators of the product itself. So getting started, when we talk about what is Ethereum and how does it work, Ethereum is a technology that's home to digital money, like I said before, global payments and applications. It's the number 2 cryptocurrency by market cap, following right behind Bitcoin. But unlike Bitcoin and most other cryptocurrencies, Ethereum is intended to be much more than simply a medium of exchange or store of value. As we all know, Bitcoin is kind of settling into its role as no longer being a form of transaction, but more of a store of value. I tell people all the time that my Bitcoin holdings I'm never going to sell them, first and foremost. I'll use it as collateral. And also, it's what I'm going to retire off of. When I make gains off of the smaller cap coins, the more riskier coins, I roll those gains into Bitcoin. That's like my savings account. I guess you could view it as my 401k, my ROA, IRA, or whatever the hell other letters you want to throw at it. That is a setup for poor people to remain poor, if you look at it from a taxing standpoint, which is why I'm so glad that, we now have this opportunity to invest in, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. But staying on track. So Ethereum also calls itself a decentralized computing network. I refer to it as the new supercomputer. It is built on blockchain technology, and if you guys don't understand what blockchain technology is, it's basically a ledger that records all transactions, and it's distributed amongst anyone. Is open source, and it's totally transparent. So let's talk about how Ethereum works. Now, let's see, let's go over to our page and we talk about the many use cases for Ethereum. Like I said, we're going to get into it. But in short, Ethereum is open source access to digital money and data-friendly services for everyone, no matter your background or location. It's a commonly built, community-built technology behind the cryptocurrency Ether. We're going to talk about ETH in a minute, and thousands of applications you can use. Now, As I said before, Ethereum works on the basis of a blockchain. Now, a blockchain is a decentralized distributed public ledger where all transactions are verified and recorded, kind of like what I said before. It's distributed in the sense that everyone participating in the Ethereum network holds an identical copy of this ledger, letting them see all past transactions. It's decentralized in that the network isn't operated or managed by any centralized entity, i.e., like your bank or a particular company. They control everything you do, say, how you can interact. Hell, even if you have access to it. One of the beautiful things I love about decentralization. Now, instead, when you talk about decentralization and the excuse me, the distributed ledger is managed by all of the distributed ledger holders. Now, blockchain transactions use cryptography to keep the network secure and verify transactions. Hence the reason why Bitcoin has yet to be hacked. And I'm pretty confident it won't be hacked. It's going to take some type of mega quantum computer network, not just one computer, but a mega quantum computer network in order to come close to thinking about hacking it, which by then I'm pretty confident the developers will have an upgrade put in place to keep it even more secure. Now, people use computers to mine or solve complex mathematical equations that confirm each transaction on the network and add new blocks to the blockchain. That is what they use, which is pretty much at the heart of the system. Participants, basically miners, are rewarded with the currency of Ethereum, which is the ETH token. Now, Ether, in turn, can be used to buy and sell goods and services like Bitcoin. It also seen rapid gains in price over the recent years. As we talked about before, it is going up. Like I got into Ethereum when it was under $200, and it's had, let's talk about it here, currently $32.99. It's got a long way to go. It's not even close to being done. It's still in its infancy when it comes to that. Now, a lot of people like to compare Ethereum to Bitcoin, but Ethereum is different from Bitcoin in that the network can perform computations as part of the mining process. Now, um, this basic computational capability turns a store of value and medium of exchange into a decentralized global computing engine and openly verifiable data store. Now, let's talk about some of the benefits of Ethereum. Now, one of the benefits is that it has a large existing network. Now these benefits have been tried and true, and they have been tested throughout the years of operation with billions of value trading hands. It has a large and committed global community, and it has the largest ecosystem in blockchain and cryptocurrency. Again, second in market cap only to Bitcoin. It also has a wide range of functions. Now, besides being used as a digital currency, Ethereum can also be used to process other types of financial transactions, execute smart contracts. Smart contracts, oh my gosh, that is one of the biggest key points of the Ethereum blockchain. And it can store data for third-party applications. It also has constant innovation. A large community of Ethereum developers is constantly looking for new ways to improve the network and develop new applications. Now, because of Ethereum's popularity, it tends to be the preferred blockchain network for new and exciting and sometimes risky decentralized applications, as we saw with some of the rug pools that have came out because of the fact that anyone can create a cryptocurrency, a coin on top of the Ethereum blockchain and put it out. The beauty of that is that the smart contract used to create the coin is transparent. It's open public ledgers, open knowledge, so you can verify that. And unfortunately, if you don't take the time to, decipher the smart contract, you could get burned in that process. Now, another great benefit of Ethereum is that it avoids intermediaries, and that's due to centralization. Now, its decentralized network promises to let users leave behind third-party intermediaries. Why did that word just trip me up? Maybe because I'm trying to read so fast. But it leaves behind third-party intermediaries like lawyers who write and interpret contracts, banks that are intermediaries in financial transactions, or third-party web hosting services. I cannot wait until we get further development into Web3. when Web3 comes out, it's also known as the decentralized web. I am going to jump all over that without any delay, because me being a web developer, I'm excited about what that has to offer, because, you know, thanks to IPFS, and now unstoppable domains, you can put up websites that cannot be taken down. They cannot be censored. You 100% own it. Once it hits the blockchain, it is there. So there's a lot of great that's going to come from that. Obviously, there's going to be some bad actors in that space, but overall, there's going to be a lot of great that comes with that. We see that with a lot of the blockchain-based social networks that are coming out. You know, a lot of the blockchain-based YouTubes. LBRY is one. Theta, even though Theta has their own network, it's based off of Ethereum, which they run ERC20 based tokens. But all that stuff, there's a lot of innovation. That's the word I was looking for earlier. A lot of innovation coming, and it's all sparring off of. It originated from Bitcoin, but it's definitely bouncing off of Ethereum. Now, let's talk about some of the disadvantages of Ethereum. The first thing, the biggest thing, the one thing that we all talk about, and I myself complain about, so you guys probably saw that when I was doing my Uniswap tutorial, is the freaking transaction cost. Those gas fees are ridiculous. They're working on it. You know, we have a lot of layer 2 solutions, Matic being one of them. I've been waiting on Matic to pop, and I'll be transparent with you guys. So I had a small bag of Matic. I did back in the Polygon days, and here lately, I went ahead and liquidated my Matic holdings. I'm going to buy back in, but I liquidated my Matic holdings right before, I would say like a week before Matic took off in price. Yes, I feel kind of stupid, but you know what? Like they always say, nobody ever loses money taking profits. So pleased with the gains that I made off my Matic holdings. And like I said, I will be buying back in once it cools off a little bit, because Matic has in my opinion, a great future, great potential. But again, the biggest disadvantage currently is those freaking gas fees, and they're working on it. EIP 1559 is supposed to help with those gas fees. If you take a look at it here, simple summary. There's a transaction pricing mechanism that includes fixed per block network fee that is burned and dynamically expands, contracts block sizes to deal with transient congestion. So basically what EIP 1559 is set to do is pretty much help reduce, not greatly reduce, but it's definitely going to help reduce those gas fees, those transaction fees, and it's going to help. I'm assuming that's kind of twofold, because in reducing the transaction fees, you're in increasing the amount of transactions, in turn, you're going to reduce the fees. So it's kind of like a twofold thing. I'm really excited about EIP 1559. It's supposed to release in July, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's going to come out in July. And that's probably one of the catalysts behind the current pump in Ethereum's price. And it's definitely going to be as we get closer to that date of them releasing that update or that upgrade, it's definitely going to be an even bigger catalyst to the price moving even higher. Not financial advice, but I'm definitely adding to my Ethereum stash at the moment. Now, the second thing, I guess the second disadvantage that Ethereum may have is the potential for inflation. Now, this is, of course, prior to the EIP 1559 and before ETH2 comes out, which makes it takes it over to a proof of stake mechanism. But currently, it does have an annual limit of releasing 15 million Ether per year. There's no lifetime limit on the potential number of coins. Now, this could mean that as an investment, Ethereum might function more like dollars and may not appreciate as much as Bitcoin, which has a strict lifetime limit of 21 million coins. Again, this is prior to the upgrades that are coming in place. So this is based off of the current Ethereum environment. When they start introducing fee burning and things of that sort, in theory, it could actually turn the asset into a deflationary asset, which helps the price out a lot for you guys that are investing in ETH. Now, one other thing that can definitely be viewed as a disadvantage is a steep learning curve for developers. Like Ethereum can be difficult to pick up as they migrate from centralized processing to a decentralized network. I've looked into creating my own node for Ethereum, ETH2, and it is not an easy process. Let me tell you that right now. Also, you have to learn the Solidity for people who are looking to build dApps. You have to learn this Solidity language in order to build on top of Ethereum. And if you're not a seasoned developer, if you don't have experience with Java, JavaScript, maybe some Python, things of that sort, yeah, it's going to kick your ass. So, that could be seen as a disadvantage. One thing I like about what Cardano is doing with what do they call it? I forget the name of their the language that they use. It'll come to me probably right after I finish. But they're building a platform so that it's pretty much like drag and drop. You're can easily build your dApp applications, by putting together a collection of their protocols, and that's a beautiful thing. Hopefully, Ethereum will make it a lot easier for people to build on top of it in regards to coding the dApps, because that would greatly help out a lot of people who are looking to capitalize on this new industry that's coming out. And one other thing, last but not least, as far as a disadvantage, is that as Ethereum continues to evolve and improve, the ongoing development of ETH 2.0 holds out the promise of new functions and greater efficiency, but that leaves the unknown future. Like I told you guys before, it's uncharted territory, uncharted waters, kind of like how the internet was in the very beginning. In the very beginning of the internet, if you guys remember that, was it a Today Show with Bryant Gumbel? The names, I be drawing blanks. That's what happens when you have 3 million thoughts going through your head at the same time. But there's a clip with Bryant Gumbel, and he's trying to figure out, what's this thing called the internet. He's got a couple of other people on the show with him, and all they were thinking about was an email. Like, what the hell is an email? Why would I want to do that? Why the postal service is more than sufficient. So at that time, the internet was kind of referred to as a place to send and receive emails. Well, look at what it's exploded into. We pretty much do everything online now. Same philosophy with Ethereum. We don't know what it's capable of doing. We don't know what lies in its future. And hell, I don't think the developers know, because listening to one of the original founders, Charles Hoskinson, who is now the creator of Cardano, he described Ethereum as being a mistake. They kind of made it on accident. They were putting a whole lot of things together, and it just kind of evolved into what it is today. So they didn't even know what the potential was for Ethereum. I'm glad that they, continue to play around with it and continue to bring things together to let it become what it is today, and kind of set a solid foundation for where it's going. But hell, they didn't even know. So, I'm excited about Ethereum's future, but at the same time, I do understand that again, you know we're definitely in uncharted territory. Definitely a lot of upside, but there is some risk involved with that too. So, you guys please keep that in mind. All right, so let's talk about ETH. All right, so ETH. ETH is, as the article says here, ETH is the lifeblood of Ethereum. Now, when you send ETH or use an Ethereum application, you'll pay a small fee. Small fee. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I had to throw that little dig in there because ain't shit small about that fee. But it says you'll pay a small fee in ETH to use the Ethereum network. This fee is an incentive for a miner to process and verify what you're trying to do. Now, we talked about miners earlier, but miners are like the record keepers of Ethereum. They check and prove that no one is cheating, and miners do this work. I'm sorry, miners who do this work are also rewarded with small amounts of newly issued ETH. So I guess that's kind of like a trade-off. If you're a miner, you're happy that the fees are what they are right now because you get paid, a portion of those fees. Now, we did see a situation where the miners were not too happy about the implementation or the coming implementation of the EIP 1559 because it drastically reduces the amount of fees, and actually, understand that a portion of those fees are going to get burned means that that's coming out of the miner's pocket. So it kind of hits the bottom line. But long term, overall, I'm pretty confident that they understand it's good for the environment, the Ethereum ecosystem as a whole, because it moves to a proof of stake type system, meaning that the more Ethereum you hold, the more incentive you receive. So the miners have an incredible large amount of Ethereum, so it's going to greatly incentivize them once they make that transition. Now, it says here, ETH will become even more important with staking, which I just talked about with the ETH 2.0, because when you stake your ETH, you'll be able to help secure the Ethereum network, and you can earn rewards. So that's just the beautiful thing about the proof of stake concept. I like it. I think it helps. It helps create more, what do you want to say? It helps invite more participants onto the network because you don't have to spend a ton of money on equipment, mining equipment. For the most part, that stuff is priced outside of our financial range. We don't have $1 million to put towards mining equipment. But now all you need is a computer. You can stake. There's actually exchanges right now at this very moment that's offering ETH2 based rewards for staking your Ethereum. So there's a lot of upside that's going to be coming with Ethereum 2.0 based off the ETH. So now let's talk about the DAOs or DeFi. I'm sorry. Let's talk about DeFi, decentralized finance. Like I said, over the summer, that was the buzzword. DeFi, 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 DeFi. That's kind of settled down a little bit. And like I said, I'm happy it has kind of settled down because when there's major hype, um, that kind of invites a lot of the bad actors. So once the hype kind of dies down and goes away, as far as with everybody, you know, the bad actors, they've kind of already ran their scams, they've already done their rug pulls, and they've kind of on to the next thing, i.e. Safe Moon, i.e. I'm not gonna say it, but you guys know the coin that I'm not too fond of. But now we can focus on true DeFi applications. I myself am invested in Compound. I love synthetics. Aave is a great application. You got Curve, which is doing some amazing things with their lending platform. So there's a great opportunity in DeFi. But going into the article, it says here, DeFi is a collective term for financial products and services that are accessible to anyone who can use Ethereum, anyone with an internet connection. With DeFi, the markets are always open. We know it's 24/7, and there are no centralized authorities who can block payments or deny you access to anything. Services that were previously slow, i.e. Swift, and at risk of human error, are automatic and safer. Now that they're handled by code that anyone can inspect and scrutinize. That's one thing I love about that. Now let's talk about some of the bullet points that they list here regarding DeFi versus the traditional financial system. Now, it says some people aren't granted access to set up a bank account or use financial services. We know that because what credit limitations, which we can go into a lot of different ways that the credit system can be used as a tool against a person who isn't in the right financial class. I guess I could say it that way. Um, and they're not taught the proper ways of utilizing credit in a good way. So I think I reference Charles Hoskinson a lot because I follow him and I really love his message. But he actually noted, he was like, his secretary has a higher credit score than he does, and he's a billionaire. So he sees a lot of flaws in that system. Um, Another bullet point they list here is a lack of access to financial services, which can prevent people from being employable. That's huge. That is very huge. Next point. Next point. Financial services can block you from getting paid. We all know that. They can seize your. They can shut down your account. They can seize your assets. They can, they can pretty much prevent you from cashing your check. So many different variables that come into play when you think about that, where a traditional bank can truly like lock you out of their system. It's amazing. Let's see, a hidden charge of financial services um, is your personal data. Governments and centralized institutions can close down markets at will. We saw that with the whole GameStop fiasco. I'm pretty confident you guys remember that, where they were short squeezing, severely over leveraged. What was it? The Morgan Capital? Don't quote me on that, but one of the investment firms, one of the hedge firms, were severely over leveraged in their short. I think it was like 130% they were over, which obviously means they had purchased 30% more shorts than were available. Someone found out about it. They said we could squeeze them out. They were squeezing them out, which was driving up the price. And the government, the people, I won't just say the government, but we know that there were definitely some phone calls being made, and they shut all trading down on the apps that were seeing the highest volume. So we know for a fact that governments and centralized institutions can close down the markets at will. Trading hours often limited to business hours, specific time zones. We know the crypto market is 24/7, no boundaries. You have 100% access to it at all times. All you need is your phone. Um, Let's see, money transfers can take days due to internal human processes, i.e., Swift. Have you guys ever tried to wire money? I think Western Union isn't as bad. They just have a lot of what do I want to say, identity verification barriers in the way. Makes sense, but at the same time, that too, and the cost involved in doing that is ridiculous. But I tried to wire somebody. I told you guys about that when I was purchasing me and my girlfriend's vehicles, and it was a cash transaction both times, and I had to wire the bank. And the process that I had to go through, it literally took 3 days just to buy a car cash. It was unbelievable, twice. So go figure. And there's a premium to financial services because intermediary institutions need their cut. They're going to take their money. That's fees. Fees. Banks get billions of dollars in fees every year. Which is weird because how can you charge somebody an overdraft fee when clearly they don't have the money? How is it that you can charge someone a fee just for having an account with you? What they call it, a service fee or something like that, that you pay annually or monthly, depending on the type of bank account you have. Freaking believable. But especially knowing that they use fractional lending, as you guys can see, I'm going down this rabbit hole again. But they use fractional reserve lending so that they're making money off the quote unquote deposits that you make anyway. They're lending it back out. So they're charging interest off of the loans that they give to people, which used to be your money, which is now just Federal Reserve notes, is bank reserves issued from the Fed, but they're making money off that interest, off the money that they created out of thin air, and then turn around and charge you for having an account with them, or charge you for not having enough money. It is what it is. Uh, I guess there's three sides to every coin, but you guys are hearing my side, so whatever. Now, quick comparison. As you can see here, I went down a whole rabbit hole. I'm sorry, guys. I do that. You guys know, but it is what it is. Whatever. But quick comparison when they show DeFi versus traditional finance. First thing, which is the most important thing, I preach this all the time. You hold your money, not your keys, not your crypto. If you don't have possession of those privacy keys, I left my ledger upstairs. But if you don't have possession of the keys, you don't have ownership of that money. In the traditional bank, your money is held by the bank. And I took a second because it irritates the hell out of me. You have to ask permission to spend your money. They say it's for your security. I say it's for bullshit. It's for control. The fact that you have to ask for permission to spend your own money, unheard of, unfreaking believable. I had to ask permission to spend my own money. And good luck if you're trying to spend over 10 grand, because the levels in which you have to go through, you know, how many documents I had to sign at the dealership. Because what my car was, you know, over 30 grand. My girlfriend's SUV, same thing. You know how many documents I had to sign because we were doing a cash transaction, even though it's being wired from the bank? And I asked the guy, I was like, what's the purpose of this? It's a wire, you know, wire transfer. It's like, oh yeah, we have to report that to the IRS for AML, anti-money laundering regulations. I'm like, well, how the hell am I money? Am I doing money laundering when it's a wire transfer from the bank? I can see if I came in and gave you a suitcase full of money. Oh, thank you. Oh, look at that. She brought me my ledger. Okay. But I was like, I can see if I came in and brought you a suitcase full of money, then maybe you want to be suspicious. But it's a wire transfer. He's like, look, man, I don't make the rules. I just follow them. At that point, I understood exactly what he was saying. So anyway, with DeFi, you hold your money, you know, stable coins. You are your own bank. That puts a level of accountability in your hands, which I prefer. You know, most people will give up rights for a false sense of security. Weirdest thing I've ever heard, but I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said it, that a people who will surrender liberties for a false sense of temporary security deserves neither liberty or security. I truly believe that, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. You guys know how I feel about that. But anyway, second thing, you control where your money goes and how it's spent. That's huge because you dictate what happens in, you know, with your transactions. You know, the bank, they can do what's called rehypothecation, which basically means that, you know, you can um, give them money to hold and secure. We talked about that with fractional reserve lending, and you can use it as collateral. But hell, they could lend your collateral out to somebody, and it's like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? So if there was ever a run on it, where everybody, you know, you were trying to get yours back and somebody else trying to get theirs back, and they didn't have enough to cover, you're in a really bad position. You're in a bad situation. And what you're going to do? All you can do is, you know, file a grievance. Okay, well, who's going to, you know, secure and take care of that grievance? Well, at that point, you still screwed because you don't have your asset. So anyway, with the traditional financial company, you have to trust companies not to mismanage your money, like lend to risky borrowers, which is what I just said with the rehypothecation. Like I said that before I even read it, so I'm not going to not going to say that again. Next bullet point is transfer of funds happens in minutes versus payments that can take days due to manual processes. I just gave you guys that example when it came to me trying to do a wire transfer for my vehicle purchases. Hopefully, with the purchase of this new house that we're getting built, we won't run into these same problems. Let's see, because it's kind of the same thing. Anyway, transaction activity is pseudonymous, basically meaning that versus in the financial system, financial activity is tightly coupled with your identity. What that means when they say activity is pseudonymous, pseudonymous. I said that right. Basically saying that all you have to give up is your public address of your wallet, which is a very long series of characters that has no identifying factor to it whatsoever. You know, they can't easily say, well, I know this wallet belongs to, you know, Mario. Unless you have previously done a transaction with me, and can go look that up and kind of save my public address, you have no idea of knowing who sent what to who, when, where, how, outside of it being on the blockchain. But you have no idea who these people are that are making these transactions. The next step, DeFi is open to everyone. We kind of discussed that already. It's borderless. It doesn't care about your class, your race. You know, it doesn't care about your background. It doesn't care about any of that. The market's always open and it's built on transparency. You know, anyone can look at a product's data and inspect how the system works. Very important when it comes down to doing your research. You know, people always say DOIR, do your own research, because you can easily sniff out a scam. You can easily sniff out a bad actor. You can kind of like with the whole Safe Moon thing. I don't know if they updated their code yet, but it's literally in the code that it's a Ponzi scheme. It's written in the code. So you can easily identify that stuff. You may need some forge, some sort of training, but it's readily available to you. It's not hidden. You don't have to trust that this company, i.e., Enron. If you guys remember the whole Enron scandal, I'm probably giving my age out, dating myself, but the whole Enron situation where they were cooking the books and nobody knew about it. We see this in movies all the time. So that's a quick rundown with DeFi. And let's go ahead and move forward with the what are DAOs? Decentralized autonomous organizations. Now, these are cool. The most popular one that's currently built on Ethereum that I know of is MakerDAO. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys one of my horror stories. It's not a horror story. It's one of those I wish I had caught the boat, but I missed the bus type situation. I remember when Maker first came out. I was just getting into the crypto world. I had no freaking clue what was going on. I didn't know what a DAO was. I didn't know, you know, anything related to that, how that stuff worked. And Maker was dirt cheap. Today, Maker is not cheap at all. Where's my chart? Let's pull up Maker. Let's see. That's on. We'll look at it toward the FTX. I guess we can land on FTX. Maker is currently $5,349 per coin. Now it has a very tight circulating supply, which explains why the price is so high, even though it doesn't have a huge market cap. If we go to Coin Codex and take a look at its market cap real quick. Let's see, yeah, 5340 per coin. Circulating supply is only 995,239. So it's right at basically like a million of those coins. So its market cap right now is only where are we at? 5.3 billion. You'd think with a price like that it would have a larger market cap, but again, market cap is basically the current price times circulating supply. So I could have got into Maker back. Let's go. Hell, I'll go not year to date, not 1 year. Hell, I'll go back a year. If you notice, the price was really low. It was under $100, all time when it first came out. It was even lower than that. Again, under $100. Could have got into it. It is what it is. That's my story on Maker. But it is a DAO. So it's a great example of how DAOs work. Now, as the article says, you can think of DAO like an internet native business that's collectively owned and managed by its members, totally decentralized. They have built-in treasuries that no one has the authority to access without the approval of the entire group, basically everyone who holds a stake or who holds a coin on that particular DAO. Now, decisions are governed by proposals and voting to ensure everyone in the organization has a voice. There's no CEO who can authorize spending based on their own whims, and no change of the dodgy CFO manipulating the books, i.e., someone doing false fake accounting. So everything is out in the open, and the rules around spending are baked into the DAO via its code. Everything is regulated, and everything is pretty much based on it's baked into the algorithm. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's all into the protocol. So there's strict rules that cannot be changed, and things cannot be done without all of the members voting on it. So let's see. Let's do a quick comparison for a DAO versus a traditional organization. And then we'll talk about a couple of the examples because I really like the examples that they give here. Now, first thing, a DAO is flat. There's no ranking officials. There's nobody that has more rating than the other. And it's fully democratized, which is what we talked about with the voting processes for those who have actual stake. And with the traditional organization, we know it's hierarchical. You come in front line, be somewhere down in what I would say, like a janitor, an analyst, all the way up to a VP, director, so on and so forth, whatever. Next thing, voting required by members for any changes to be implemented with a traditional organization. It depends on the structure. Changes can be demanded from a sole party, i.e., the CEO, or someone in an executive role, or hell, even someone on the board if they're in a position where they have actual shareholders, a board of trustees or whatnot. Um, Let's see. Changes can be demanded from a person or a voting member. Next thing, votes tallied and outcome implemented automatically without any trusted intermediary. Um, in a traditional organization, if voting is allowed, votes are tallied internally, and outcome of voting must be handled manually, meaning you don't really know if the votes were counted fairly, i.e., our current uh, what we call democratic system, which a lot of people seem to misunderstand the fact that this is a republic. It's not a democracy, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother situation. Um, Next, services offered are handled automatically in a decentralized manner. For example, distribution of uh, philanthropic funds. Now, from a traditional organization, that requires human handling or essentially controlled automation, which is 9 times out of 10 prone to manipulation. Somebody's going to take their cut. Somebody always skims a little bit off the top when we're dealing with money, which is why we don't want people involved. I'm going to sidebar for a second. I know I'm talking a lot. We've been on here for a while. We have a lot to cover. I knew this was going to be a long video, but when we talk about, I'm gonna talk about Bitcoin here. I know this video is about Ethereum, but I want to talk about Bitcoin for just one quick second, one real quick second. So, we all understand that Bitcoin was introduced to the world by the pseudonymous name of Satoshi Nakamoto. We all understand that. Now, there has been a debate about who Satoshi is, who or whom Satoshi may be. Obviously, I think it has to be a group of individuals if they really are people involved. Now, I throw that caveat in there because when you look at someone creating something that has so much upside, so much potential, so many incentives, but don't put in anything for them personally to benefit from. There aren't many humans, and not just regardless of what society you're from, regardless of your geographic location. There aren't many humans that are going to do that, especially not many groups of humans, because Bitcoin is so intricate in its design that I seriously doubt one individual could have come up with that. So I was bouncing this off my girlfriend and one of my coworkers for my one of my positions, and I was saying that wouldn't it be incredible if Bitcoin was actually created by AI? Because of the fact that AI has no, they're not going to benefit. It's code. It's basically just a computer network. It's a computer brain. There is no incentive for it other than to truly help humanity. You know, we understand that with the rise in cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that, it's making it fair for humanity as a whole. It's really leveling the playing field. We are, especially here in the States, we all talk about how certain systems are put into place that are only designed to benefit those at the top. We talk about that all the time. That's kind of the current issue that's boiling over with the rise in socialism. It's because of the fact that a lot of people don't appreciate that there are systems in place designed to keep them down, regardless of how brilliant they are, regardless of how super intelligent they are. If they don't come from a certain class in our society, chances are you're not going to make it. The odds are stacked heavily against you. So I look at Bitcoin as something that was created, potentially by an artificial intelligence that has no, what do you call it? What do you call it? No skin in the game. They have nothing. It has nothing to gain from it outside of it being coded to help humanity save itself. Help humanity become a lot more fair. So that was, my quick little spiel about um, why I think Bitcoin came into existence. Like I said, I just wanted to sidebar for one quick second and touch up on that in regards to manipulation. And basically humans handling certain things. We talk about this whole bullet point here about in a traditional organization, it requires human handling, essentially controlled automation, and it's prone to manipulation. That's you heard it from me. You guys heard it from me on this day, May 4th at 8:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I have a theory that Bitcoin was introduced to the world by artificial intelligence. It would make sense. It would truly make sense. But anyway, let's get into some examples of DAOs. A charity. You can accept membership and donations from anyone in the world, and the group can decide how to spend the donations. A freelancer network. I really appreciate that one. You can create a network of contractors who pool their funds for office spaces and software subscriptions. And the next one, ventures and grants. You can create a venture fund that pools investment capital and votes on ventures to back. Now, rapid money could later be redistributed amongst DAO members. That is a beautiful thing there because of the fact that you don't have to, as an individual, you don't have to go in front of a group of people who may, for whatever reason, don't like how you're dressed, don't like, your haircut, don't like how you look, and will completely turn you away. They won't offer you a grant. They won't invest in your idea, in your company that may be, the next thing, the next great thing that changes the world. So this kind of removes, for the most part, removes the human element from it, where you're basically just presented with a proposal. If the entire community likes that proposal, boom, we'll issue that grant to you. So I really like that. So that's kind of like, I guess you could say, a breakdown of a DAO. Now, I guess I will cover real quickly on how it works. Now, it says the backbone of a DAO is a smart contract. The contract defines the rules of the organization and holds the group's treasury. Once the contract is live on Ethereum, no one can change the rules except by a vote. The entire vote has to be majority vote. If anyone tries to do something that's not covered by the rules and logic in the code, it will fail. And because the treasury is defined by the smart contract too, that means no one can spend the money without the group's approval either. Now, this means that DAOs don't need a central authority. Instead, the group makes decisions collectively, and payments are authorized automatically when vote passes. That's a beautiful thing. So that's the DAOs. Let's move on. We got to keep it going, guys. I know we're already, an hour in? So I appreciate you guys for sticking with me. And hopefully you guys are really benefiting from the information that we're passing on right now. Let's talk about the fan favorite, the NFTs. NFTs. I don't know how many of you guys remember CryptoKitties before I really get into it. But CryptoKitties was, I guess, one of the first NFTs that was introduced. It was like a little, it was weird, very genius in design. But you basically took these digital cats. Each one was very unique. And you could breed them with each other to create other little digital cats. And it was pretty cool in how it worked. But anyway, it got so big that it brought the Ethereum network to a crawl. Like CryptoKitties alone almost crashed Ethereum, which was incredible to do. So what they did was the Flow team, FLOW, they created their own blockchain, which kind of derived from the fact that Ethereum couldn't handle the amount of transactions that they were doing. So again, it led way to a whole nother another opportunity. It created a new avenue, a new industry for people, similar to the internet. But let's see, from the article here, NFTs are tokens that we use to represent ownership of unique items. They let us tokenize things like art, collectibles, even real estate. I'm waiting on that one. There are a few companies right now that are announcing that you can buy real estate on the blockchain. But I'm waiting on that to really take off because that's going to be huge. It's going to cut out, like, closing is going to be a brand new experience for a whole lot of people. It's going to basically eliminate the need for having to go through all of that. When you do go through closing, there will be no closing. Closing is pretty much um, accept the transaction, approve it, send it through on your wallet, boom, you just closed. No fees. You don't have to pay $10,000 for the closing costs in order to get things done going forward. So really looking forward to this taking off. Anyway, let me go back. My apologies on that. Let's see. They can only have one official owner at a time, and they're secured by the Ethereum blockchain. No one can modify the record of ownership or copy or paste a new NFT into existence. That's a beautiful situation. I personally use, and I mentioned this to you guys before, was it Unstoppable Domains? They issue blockchain-based domains, but it's really an NFT. You own it. You pay one time for it. I have MarioJohnson.crypto. I have my company, CryptoScholars.crypto, and I have a number of other NFT based blockchain domains, and they're all NFTs. It's a beautiful thing. Like, I own it. I paid one time for it. Some of them cost way more than others. Some of them were only $40. Some of them were $500, but whatever. It was worth it, and I own it for the rest of my life. So that's a beautiful situation. Unlike currently, with the whole domain name registration, you have to go through a central authority. We go back to centralization again, and they've got it baked into where they keep you coming back. They got to have that addiction. You have to buy it, you have to renew it every year, so they're going to get money from you every single time. But anyway, NFT stands for non-fungible token. Non-fungible is an economic term that you can use to describe things like your furniture, a song file, or your computer. These things are not interchangeable for other items because they have unique properties. Fungible items, on the other hand, can be exchanged because their value defines them rather than their unique properties. For example, ETH or dollars are fungible because one ETH could be related to one USD. It's not anymore. As we know, one ETH right now is currently sitting at, back to the chart, $3,326. So, but that's a great example in regards to talking about fungibility. And it's exchangeable for another one ETH or one US dollar. Now, NFTs and Ethereum solve some of the problems that exist in the internet today. As everything becomes more digital, there's a need to replicate the properties of physical items like scarcity, uniqueness, and proof of ownership. Not to mention that digital items often only work in the context of their product. This is true. You got a lot of things that are becoming cross-chain based NFTs, which is going to, again, that's a true game changer. For example, you can't resell an iTunes MP3 you purchase. That's kind of baked into their code. I can understand the reasoning behind that, but we're not going to go behind that. It's all about money. Or you can't exchange one company's loyalty points for another platform's credit, even if there's a market for it. Let's do a quick comparison. Let's go down the chart here, and then we'll talk about some quick examples. I think I gave you guys a few, but I'm gonna tell you about the NFT platform that I'm invested in, and we'll name a couple of others. That way you guys can kind of have an idea of, I guess, where you could, kind of like what I talked about with, you can buy the individual asset or you can invest in the platform. I look at the platform. Like, my individual NFTs that I hold, they serve a direct purpose for me. So they have an actual use case that I'm going to utilize them for. I'm not buying it just as a collector's item, hopefully to sell it for later on. It actually serves a use case. What I'm looking at as far as passive income goes is investing in the platform that the NFT sit on top of. Very, very important there. All right, so NFT internet. NFTs are digitally unique. No two NFTs are the same. On the internet today, you can copy a file like an MP3, JPEG, in the same as the original. This is true. We see copies of digital art everywhere all the time. Every NFT must have an owner, and this is a public record and easy for anyone to verify. This is also true. NFTs are compatible with anything but built using Ethereum, which actually you have a lot of other blockchain platforms now that are coming out with NFTs, but they're all kind of taking the idea from Ethereum because it's basically just a smart contract. NFT ticket can even An NFT ticket for an event can be traded on every Ethereum marketplace for an entirely different NFT. That's true. I guess you can go to, OpenSea, you can go to Rarible, you can go to, what's the other one? Oh God, it's right on top of my head, but whatever. You can basically pull it off of that one particular site that you bought it from and go resell it on a completely different site as long as it sits on top of Ethereum. All right, so some examples would be like a digital artwork, an in-game item, digital collectible, a domain name, like I talked about with unstoppable domains, a ticket that gives you access to an event, or a coupon. And this is what I was telling my cousin about: a unique sneaker in a limited run fashion line. That's pretty awesome. Um, but speaking on being able to identify product authenticity. Again, I'm going to segue for a second here. That's where VeChain comes into play. And they're one of the big players in regards to being able to do supply chain authenticity on the blockchain. Um, and you can track, I know I've talked about this on a couple of other videos, but you can track a product from the time it was made to the time it was packaged to the time it was shipped, all the way down to when it hits the store for you to buy. You can, scan a barcode, QR code rather, and you can verify its entire process on the blockchain. And it can't be altered, it can't be changed. You can't falsify the data. That's a beautiful thing. So I want to talk about the NFT platform that I'm invested in, which is Engine. I'm really a big fan of Engine. I got introduced to them about a year ago when I think they were around like 7 cent a coin or something like that. They've really taken off, but they currently specialize in like gaming NFTs. Where you can get like a sword or some special potion or some crap. I don't know. I don't play games anymore. But Engine is a big platform. Chili's is another big NFT platform. And they actually have taken off. Like, I think they got like the NBA Top Shot and all this other stuff. Like Chili's is really taking, they exploded here probably about a month or two ago in price. They were like the big name when the whole NFT buzzword started flying around. Chili's was the big player in that resort. But the NFT space is a huge, it's a big one, and it has a lot of potential, it has a lot of upside. I think that as with Bitcoin being a game changer and a true disruptor in regards to store value, Ethereum being a true game changer, or I'll say DeFi, I'll go one layer above Ethereum and say DeFi being a true disruptor, a true game changer in how we are going to begin to interact with the financial markets. NFTs are going to be a huge game changer in how we're going to start interacting with ownership, be it property ownership, be it how we basically do our deals. NFTs are really going to, disrupt and be a huge game changer in that area. All right, so let's go on to our last topic that I wanted to cover, which is the Ethereum 2.0 upgrade. I'm going to keep this really quick, simple, to the point. Basically, Ethereum 2.0 is where they transition from a proof of work, which involves miners, over to a proof of stake, which involves all of us, the people who actually hold Ethereum, staking their coins, which helps secure the network and also helps, I guess, create a quote unquote deflationary type asset in Ethereum. As they talk about here, it becomes more scalable, where they're looking at, I think they're saying that it can support up to like 10,000 transactions per second in theory, by using sharding. It's incredible. My number could be off, but it's somewhere in that area where the transactions per second is going to drastically increase, which is also going to bring down the fee costs because it brings up, it introduces a lot more bandwidth. Like we said, more secure, because now you're going to introduce more people staking versus a limited number of miners, which requires a major investment. Now anybody who holds ETH, regardless of how much ETH you have, you can stake it, and every portion of that ETH, that every every potential coin or potential fraction of a coin that you stake helps to further secure the network. So, and it says it's more sustainable, meaning that Ethereum needs to be better for the environment. The technology today requires too much computing power and energy, i.e., the miners having to have mining equipment, which requires electricity. At this point, moving over to a proof of stake type setup, all you're doing is, you know, basically kind of like depositing your coins into the network, and it secures it. It requires a hell of a lot less electricity, if anything, outside of the actual nodes that are running Ethereum. Basically where you stake your ETH to. It's a beautiful situation. It's a great setup. So that's kind of ETH2 in a nutshell. I know that could be an entire webinar, an entire video in itself, but I just want to kind of give you guys a 50,000 foot overview of it. So that's all I got, people. Hopefully, like I said, this was very informative. Hopefully this really helped you get a better understanding of Ethereum as a whole. I am a super bull on Ethereum. It's, man, like I said, the potential that it has for growth is it's limitless. It has no ceiling. People are calling for Ethereum to hit 40,000 a coin. I'm happy with 10,000 a coin. I don't want to put a monetary limitation on it because, like I said, with the internet, who would have known that the internet was going to grow to be what it is today when it first came out? So Ethereum is, internet 2.0. It's basically internet on steroids because it's going to take over everything and it's going to eat everything. Of course, you have other platforms like Cardano, like Polkadot, you know, things of that nature. I think Cosmos, EOS, things like that, that will offer, they're going to have similar products and, offer similar type platforms. But Ethereum is, the number two coin for a reason. And when you look at their market cap, they pretty much blow out everybody else. Ethereum's market cap currently is 388 billion. The next highest, which is BNB, also invested in them. They, kind of are, believe it or not, BNB kind of cloned. They copied everything Ethereum did and turned it into a centralized, that's Binance coin, by the way, if you guys don't know what BNB is. But they literally cloned everything Ethereum does and kind of put it over to the Binance Smart Chain. But the next highest market cap is 97 billion. 97 billion. Ethereum has them beat by almost $300 billion from a market cap. So even for the number three coin, the next highest coin by market cap to tie Ethereum, it has to do almost a 3x. Freaking believable. But I'll be goddamn. Look at Doge. You guys knew I was going to talk about Doge today. I tried to leave it out, but whatever. Doge is, I'll give it its flowers, for right now. It's still it's not a smart investment. I'll just leave it at that. But it relies on Elon Musk to tweet about it. If Elon Musk never said Doge wouldn't be nowhere where it is right now. So when you look at the fundamentals behind Doge, there are none. It's truly a hype coin. So whatever. To the people making money off Doge, congratulations. I applaud you. Please, 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 not financial advice, my personal opinion. Don't look at this as a long-term investment because it's not. It's something to make quick money off of, and that's it. But anyway, oh, and I didn't even let you guys see what I was looking at. My apologies there. This is what I was looking at when I was talking about the market caps and everything. As much as I know you guys want to see my face, sometimes you kind of want to look at the examples that I'm giving you also. So yeah, Doge has moved his way up to the number 4 coin. Congratulations, Doge. XRP is going to be mad at you in a little bit. So I currently got a login on XRP. So I'm pretty confident the XRP army is going to have something to say about that. But now we'll go to my favorite part of the webinar where we get to ask questions. Well, you guys get to ask questions and you guys get to make statements. And I see that we already have Chantel looking to ask her questions. So I'm going to go ahead and turn her mic on. Go ahead, Chantel. How you doing?
Good, good. First of all, nobody don't want to see your face. Second, so you kind of you just hit on the question. You kind of just hit on the question that I had. When it comes to Doge. So
Hmm.
it's making money right now, which is good for people who know what they're doing. And like you said, your advice was to not make it a long term investment. What I did like was with all of the coins that you did mention, they have some type of usability where they really solve real world problems and or they provide solutions or some type of innovation. Um, that being said, like I find myself getting in these spats with people on like social media about, I'm dropping my life savings in the Dogecoin. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. What type of exit strategy should they have? Or because what I've noticed is you'll see Dogecoin have this big old pump, and then like right now you'll see like the other larger coins are um, taking a little bit of a dip. But what I've seen is that when that happens, you'll notice all of a sudden, I don't know if it's going to be a big dump that's going to happen or what, but Dogecoin just seems to just go down, and then you'll notice that the other coins are, going to start pumping back up. Could that be some form of manipulation from like the big corporations, or what do you think would be the cause of that?
All right, so Dogecoin pumps because Elon Musk tweets about it. Short answer is it relies 100% on Elon Musk right now. He is the biggest proponent for Doge, and not because he believes in Doge technology, because there's no technology behind Doge. It's the hype coin. I think that Elon Musk is not as he's a very smart person. He's a genius. So he has a deeper agenda behind his purpose for pushing Doge. Notice that he bought, his company didn't buy $1 billion worth of Doge. They bought $1 billion worth of Tesla. But he's he got approved to do a Saturday Night Live skit. Coming up here, he's going to be on Saturday Night Live, and he kind of hinted at the fact that he's going to give a promo to Doge during the skit. So that's one of the reasons why it's pumping. And if you notice, every time it has pumped, it pumped because of him tweeting as of late. Prior to that, it's always been some type of hype built around it, kind of like the GameStop thing, even though GameStop had an actual use case. So that basically answering, hopefully that's answering the why it pumps when other coins aren't doing great situation. What was the second part of that question you asked? I'm sorry, I was typing something when you was asking it, so I was listening but I wasn't listening, if that makes sense.
It don't make sense, but anyway, I forgot, but I got another question then. So could it be that this could all be a distraction to keep the little people like us away from buying the coins that have a limited supply versus Dogecoin, which is trillions and trillions of them out there, to kind of save those for the rich people, which is why I'm wondering if that's why the price is dropping, so that they could basically buy all of the Bitcoin, the Ethereums, the V chains, all the other ones that actually have some type of usability.
Well, I
Oh,
always
that was
say, go ahead,
it.
sorry.
Was it? Oh, I was saying that was my question. Would this be some type of like form of manipulation?
Long term, that's kind of my theory on that, is that Bitcoin is a store of value. It's definitely solidified its position as a store of value. And because it has an extremely limited supply, the wealthy people want to use it for its purpose of being a store of value. Now, if you guys remember, when crypto kind of really started becoming mainstream, what was it, the end of last year? Crypto really started becoming mainstream. It was all about buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. Well, people were buying the hell out of Bitcoin. And other people don't like that, because we know we live in a society that's based on classes, you know,
Right.
and Bitcoin is like the creme de la creme, you know, and
Mhm.
the price of Bitcoin was drastically increasing. Hell, I think what November it was still around like 19,000. You know, it hadn't even eclipsed 20,000 at that time. So because retail, as they like to call us, retail investors were rushing into Bitcoin, it was rushing, pushing the price up, and they couldn't control that. And it was, you know, right around the time where they were really starting to get approval from their boards, because we know major institutions have to go through a process before they can actually make a purchase so that they can buy. So, again, my opinion. Um, if we can convince, and when I say we, I'm talking about the mindset of the wealthier individuals, if they can convince you to go buy some bullshit, which we all know Dogecoin is literally a bullshit coin. Um, Hell, the creator tells you it was created as a joke, as a bullshit coin. If we can convince you, the general public, to go put all their money into some bullshit while we go buy up the actual asset that's going to maintain its value, then by the time the general public catches on to it and realizes that they put their money into some bullshit and try to rush back over to the asset of value, you know, the coin or coins that truly have, as we say, as you say, a use case, a true utility, they solve a real world problem, the price is going to be out of your reach. It's going to be out of realm for it to even matter, you know. And again, that's my theory, that's my philosophy on it. Like I said, Elon is an extremely smart individual, you know, and when people make moves like that, I've said it before, you know, he can promote Doge because it's not going to cause the SEC to knock on his door, because it has no utility, it has no use case. It's not like he's promoting a company or anything like that. So he can have fun with Doge while he's buying the hell out of Bitcoin. So that's kind of my theory on it. So yeah, you know, Bitcoin's price is definitely taking a hit. We all know that it had topped at right around like $65,000, and it dropped all the way down like 47,000 over like a 10-day span, which is a great buying opportunity, by the way. But that's never by accident. You know, that's always
Mhm.
because, you know, I always say when Bitcoin prices drop, when Bitcoin's price drops, that's when rich people are going shopping, which is when I go
Mhm.
shopping, because I want to buy what the rich people are buying. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think you're onto something with that, because I definitely kind of feel the same way.
Okay, that
So,
was it.
all right, thank you for that question, madam. And if anybody else has, does anyone else have any questions while we're doing the Q&A portion of it? Like I said, if you guys do have questions, utilize the raise your hand um, feature on the Zoom, so that I can actually allow you to truly ask your question. Oh, hey, what's up, Shakola? How you doing, ma'am? I see you posted a question. What we gonna do is I'm actually gonna allow you to talk so you can ask your question. Can you hear me, Shakola?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, go ahead and ask your question. First of all, before you ask your question, I apologize. I don't want to be rude. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
I can't complain. Thank you for joining. All right, so go ahead and ask your question.
Well, my question is, it's a two-part question,
Hmm.
and I've seen Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, and so I was asking, what is the difference between the both?
Okay, great question, and I'm glad you asked that question. So, Ethereum, the Ethereum that we know today, actually started as Ethereum Classic. There was no Ethereum Classic. There was just one. But what happened was, and I'm not going to give you the most accurate description of it, but kind of like high level overview. What happened was there was a double spin attack that happened on the Ethereum network. There was a bug that got exploited, and the only way to there were two potential ways to fix the exploit that took place. One was to roll back the blockchain um, to before the double spin happened, which is a no-no in the crypto world. And the second was basically to just create a fork of that particular chain, um, and implement the fix for that bug, for that exploit, so that it couldn't happen again. So what the developers of Ethereum did was they created a fork, which is what we now know as Ethereum. And the original blockchain is now known as Ethereum Classic. Now, some people that are part of the developers, from what I understand, were not too happy about that because they felt like the blockchain should have gotten rolled back. So they continued on with Ethereum Classic. The problem is Ethereum Classic is now not really being developed. I think Charles Hoskinson was working on it for a little bit, but last year alone, they had at least 4 double spin attacks or 51% attacks, which basically led to double spin attacks. Or in 1 year, most blockchains don't have one in its entirety. Like Bitcoin has never had a double spin or 51% attack ever. I think whenever they've found some bugs like that or whatever, it was immediately resolved. But to have 4 in 1 year is a huge vulnerability. It's kind of like your company getting hacked. Think of like Experian getting hacked 4 times in 1 year. Would you ever use Experian again? Hell no. So I think people are rushing to Ethereum Classic right now, which would, and I'll pull it up real quick here so you can see it, which would kind of show the rise in their price because of the fact that people are rushing to it. I think they're rushing to it because it's a cheaper Ethereum. They view it as a cheap Ethereum. And I think it's offered on PayPal and a couple of other exchanges, but it was kind of grandfathered in. Hence prior to all of these security vulnerabilities. So I personally won't ever touch Ethereum Classic. This is just my opinion because of the fact that I understand how vulnerable this blockchain is to attack, how vulnerable it is to 51% attack, double spin, basically where they can create more coins. So again, I think people are going over to it mainly because of that right there. It has the word Ethereum in it. And they're like, look, we found a cheaper Ethereum. But again, that's my theory on it. But knowing the history of Ethereum Classic, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for the explanation. And I see a lot of folks who would not normally be able to afford Ethereum would probably look at that and deviate towards the classic because, like you said, it is cheaper.
Yep. Now, see, the thing about that is that I think people who are new to the cryptocurrency space don't understand that you don't have to buy an entire Ethereum. You can buy, they call it GUI, but you can buy fractions of an Ethereum the same way you can buy fractions of Bitcoin. Every cryptocurrency, you can actually buy fractions of it. So I try to tell people who are looking at it as an investment opportunity not to look at the overall cost. Look at its, you definitely want to consider its market cap. You want to consider its calculating supply, but look at its use case, look at its potential upside. So when you're ready looking to invest money, don't look at it from a, oh my God, Ethereum is at $3,500 right now. Think of it as I'm going to take $1,000 and invest it into Ethereum. Same way you would do it, stocks, when you say you use a stash or a Robinhood or something like that, where you can buy portions of the stock. You don't have to buy the entire thing. Think of it that way. And you have the option to dollar cost average into it. So where you can continue to put small amounts in, basically just accumulating, compounding that over time. So say Ethereum goes up to, it does hit that magical $10,000 mark, meaning it 3x from here. Your $1,000 is now worth $3,000. So when you look at it from that standpoint versus the overall cost of a individual coin, it then starts to make more sense.
I see. That does make sense, which rolls into my next question, which is what is your preferred platform to use when investing in Ethereum?
I don't have a preferred platform. It's mainly where I can buy it the cheapest. And when I say buy it the cheapest, I'm talking about the exchange fees. So because every time I buy, it goes over to my Ledger wallet. I never leave my cryptocurrency on an actual exchange. So yeah, I have an account with Coinbase. Their fees are ridiculous, but depending upon the, if it's a huge dip in the market, at the time I look to buy, which is when I like to go shopping, I understand that fee is going to get absorbed anyway when the crypto bounces back and goes back up. But I also have an account with Crypto.com. I use their app. Unfortunately, you may run into an issue. I don't think they're a US based company. So you're going to run into an issue with your bank. I wasn't running into that issue with my credit union, but as of late, I have been running into the issue where they'll deny the transaction, flagging it as suspicious. Because it's a crypto. For one, it's a crypto based transaction. And two, it's coming from um, it's an international transaction. So crypto.com is one. Binance.us, I have an account with them, so I utilize them. Gemini is another. I have an account with them. That's another exchange. They're US based. Their fees kind of similar to Coinbase. So again, if you're looking to do investing, if you're looking to buy Ethereum during a dip, it'll that fee will get absorbed. So it's not a big deal. But I always, recommend, again, in my opinion, having multiple accounts with multiple places, multiple on ramps, multiple off ramps. Oh yeah, Voyager. Thanks. Voyager is another app that I use, that you can buy off of. They're actually really good with their market making, but sometimes their fees are ridiculous. But I think they have the best fees Voyager does for buying. But I think transacting, like sending it off, is where they're going to hit you in the pocket. So, but what I was saying was, I recommend having accounts with multiple places, not just one, because if you run into an issue where you're wanting to take your money off, or say the price goes up, you're ready to take some profit, you want to sell a little bit, if that exchange is down, you're going to miss that opportunity. So always set up multiple accounts just to have them at your disposal, have them ready. And I know I listed a few, but what I can do is I could send you the referral links that I have for each one of the exchanges that I have accounts with. That way you can kind of use those to create your accounts, and you'll get a nice little sign up bonus with each one. So I'll send that to you offline.
Oh, yes, please and thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. So I saw Chantel had posted a question wanting to ask what a double spin attack was. She was saying, can I describe what a double spin attack is? In short, basically a double spin attack happens when you're able to capture at least 51% of the hash rate of any particular blockchain, and you're able to manipulate the ledger in a way that you generate more coins. That's kind of what a double spin attack is. It's short, simple to the point, short and sweet, um, it, which is why Ethereum Classic is so prone, or was at that point so prone to attack, because it wasn't a heavily utilized blockchain. Its hash rate was low, and people were able to purchase hash power in order to orchestrate an attack on it. But it's basically when you can generate more coins that are supposed to be currently issued on the blockchain. Let me see. I see you got your hand raised again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and bring you back, Chantel. All right, you're back. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, I can.
Okay.
So when you mentioned the double spend attacks, how does that affect people who invest in that specific cryptocurrency? Like, does that cause the price to like plummet? Because when people do that, they basically jump in and sell off all of their not stocks, basically all of their coins, and people lose money.
Well, it doesn't. The attack itself doesn't cause people to lose money. The fact that people are monitoring blockchains all day, every day. you know. So Chainalysis, they're monitoring blockchain. Crypto Quant, they're monitoring hash rate. There's companies that are out there that are dedicated to doing nothing but monitoring activity on blockchains. So when a double spin attack happens, they put out an alert. Now, you just introduced a vulnerability in a network that you're invested into. Of course, you're going to, people are going to have a mad dash to sell off their coins, because why would you want to stay invested in something like that? So that's kind of what happens, which causes the price to go down. The people who orchestrate the attack, they'll create additional coins, but then they'll go sell those coins on another platform. So that in itself doesn't necessarily cause the price to plummet. It's more of a everybody caught wind of the situation happening, and it's like, oh crap, this blockchain is about to crash, let me get out. So it's kind of like a run on the bank.
Okay, so it's more of the panic that causes it.
Yeah, it's kind of like everyone just starts selling. Because hell, if I had money invested into, Ethereum Classic, and when the first double spin attack happened, I think that was last April, last May, somewhere in that area. Don't quote me on that, but I would have immediately sold my entire stack, and I would have never touched it again, because of the fact that I understand that it's now vulnerable. It's super vulnerable.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. All right. So, does anyone else have any other questions while we have the session open? You have your option. You can either post it in the Q&A little box, the question and answer box, or you can do the raise your hand option on the Zoom, so that I can see it and you can ask your question. All right. I don't see anybody else with their hands raised. So again, hopefully you guys really enjoyed this information. Hopefully it was very helpful. And I greatly appreciate everyone coming on. And as always, I always forget to do this in the beginning, but I'm going to do it now because it's very important. Let me go and get this little disclaimer out of the way. Even though I didn't really give financial advice, but we got to have our disclaimer. The information contained herein is for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing shall be construed to be financial, legal, or tax advice. The content of this webinar and video is solely the opinions of me, the speaker, and I am not a financial advisor or a registered investment advisor. Trading cryptocurrencies possess considerable risk of loss. I do not guarantee any particular outcome. Neither does Crypto Scholars as a company. So just kind of wanted to let you guys know that this is truly just me passing on the knowledge that I've gained throughout my extensive research and my extensive time investing in cryptocurrency and doing blockchain development. So it's just what they say, the best way to preserve knowledge is to pass it on. The best way to, what they say, teach a man how to fish, or teach a man how to fish, he'll be able to fish for the rest of his life. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming, and I look forward to seeing you on next Tuesday. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Oh, and happy Mother's Day to everyone who's a mother or a mother of something. You may not be a mother of a human child. You may have a dog, you may have a fish, you may have a cat. Who knows? But happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Peace. We out of here.